Today we are going to have a presentation on adhesives. What is an adhesive? An adhesive, also known as glue, cement, methyl, or paste, is any non-metallic substance applied to one surface or both surfaces of two separate items that binds them together and resists their separation. What is adhesive used for? Adhesive and substance that is capable of holding materials together in a functional manner by surface attachment that is that resists separation. Adhesive as a general term includes cement, glue, paste, etc. Terms that are often used interchangeably for an organic material that forms an adhesive bond. What are adhesives and examples? Common examples of structural adhesives include epoxies, cyanoacrylates, and certain urethanes, and acrylic adhesives. Such adhesives can carry significant stresses and lend themselves to structural applications. It appears that the earliest adhesives used in history were natural gums and other plant resins. Archaeologists had found 6,000-year-old ceramic vessels that had broken and been repaired with paint resin. Native Americans in what is now the eastern United States used a mixture of spear gum and fat as adhesives and chalking to waterproof seams in their birch bark canoes. In ancient Babylonia, tar like glue was used for gluing statues. There is also evidence that many early adhesives were glues made from animal products. For instance, Native Americans made glues from buffalo hose. Early Egyptians used animal glues to repair fractions in tombs, furniture, ivory. The Mongols used adhesives to make their short bows. In Europe in the Middle Ages, egg whites were used to decorate parchments with gold leaves. In the 1700s, the first glue factory was founded in Holland, which manufactured hide glue. Later in 1750s, the British introduced fish glue. As modernization continued, new patents were issued for the use of rubber, bones, starch, fish, and casing. Modern synthetic adhesives have improved flexibility, toughness, curing rate, temperature, and chemical resistance. Types of adhesives. Adhesives may be classified as natural or synthetic. Examples of natural adhesives are plant resins, glues from animal hide and skin, and adhesives from mineral, that is, inorganic sources. Examples of synthetic adhesives are polymers such as elastomers, thermoplastics, and thermosets. Adhesives may also be grouped according to their properties as follows. Types of adhesives. Drying adhesives. These adhesives are a mixture of ingredients, typically polymers, dissolved in a solvent. Glues such as white glue and rubber cements are members of the drying adhesive family. As the solid evaporates, the adhesive hardens. Depending on the chemical composition of the adhesive, it will adhere to different materials to a greater or lesser extent. These adhesives are typically weak and are used for household applications. Those intended for use by small children are made non-toxic. Types of adhesives. Contact adhesive. A contact adhesive is one that must be applied to both surfaces and allowed some time, sometimes as much as 24 hours, to dry before the two surfaces are pushed or pressed together. Once the surfaces are brought together, the bond forms very quickly and it is usually not necessary to apply pressure for a long time. In other words, there is often no need to use clamps, which is convenient. Hot or thermoplastic adhesives, also known as hot melt adhesives, these thermoplastics are applied hot and simply allowed to harden as they cool. They have become popular for crafts because of their ease of use and the wide range of common materials to which they can adhere. A glue gun is one method of applying a hot melt adhesive. The solid adhesive melts in the body of the gun and the liquefied material passes through the barrel of the gun onto the material where it solidifies. Reactive adhesives. A reactive adhesive works by chemical bonding with the surface material. It is applied as a thin film. Reactive adhesives include two-part epoxy, peroxide, sealant, isocyanate, or metallic cross-linking agents. They are less effective when there is a secondary goal of filling gaps between surfaces. Such adhesives are frequently used to prevent the loosening of bolts and screws in rapidly moving assemblies such as automobile engines. They are largely responsible for the quickest running modern car engines. Pressure sensitive adhesives. Pressure sensitive adhesives, commonly known as PSAs, form a bond by application of light pressure to bind the adhesive to the adherent. Adherent is nothing but the substrate for attachment. They are designed with a balance between flow and resistance to flow. The bond forms because the adhesive is soft enough to flow and wet the, the adherent. The bond has strength because the adhesive is hard enough to resist flow when stress is applied to the bond. Once the adhesive and the adherent are in proximity, interaction between their molecules contributes significantly to the ultimate strength of the bonding. PSS are manufactured with either a liquid carrier or a complete solid form. PSS. PSS are designed for either permanent or removable applications. Examples of permanent applications include safety labels for power equipment, foil tape for HVAC ductwork, automotive interior trim assembly, and sound or vibration damping films. Some high-performance permanent PSS can support kilogram of weight per square centimeter of contact area even at elevated temperatures. Permanent PSS may be initially removed, such as to recover mislabeled goods, and set to a permanent bond after several hours or days. Removable PSs are designed to form a temporary bond and ideally can be removed after months or years without leaving residue on the adherent. They are used in applications such as surface protection films, masking tape, bookmark and note papers, price marking labels, and promotional graphic materials. Plastic wrap displays temporary adhesive properties as well. The medical applications they are used in cases where skin contact needs to be made, such as for wound care dressings, EKG electrodes, athletic tapes, and analgesic and transdermal drug patches. Some removable adhesives are designed to repeatedly stick or unstick. They have low adhesion and generally cannot support much weight. Mechanism of adhesion: water droplet adhering to leaves. The strength of attachment between an adhesive and its substrate depends on many factors, including the mechanism by which this occurs and the surface area over which the two materials contact each other. Materials that are with each other tend to have a longer contact area than those that don't. Five mechanisms have been proposed to explain why one material sticks to another. Dewdrops adhere to a spider web. These are leaves attached with water droplets. This is the spider web, which is, you find droplets on it. Mechanical adhesion. Two materials may be mechanically interlocked, such as when the adhesive works its way into small pores of the material. Some textile adhesives form small-scale bonds. On larger levels, mechanical bonds can be formed by sieving or the use of Velcro. Chemical, chemical adhesion. Two materials may form a compound at the joint. The strongest joints are where atoms of the two materials swap electrons in case of ionic bonds or share electrons in case of covalent bonds. Weaker bonds, known as hydrogen bonds, are formed if oxygen, nitrogen, or fluorine atoms of the two materials share a hydrogen nucleus. Dispersive adhesion. In dispersive adhesion, also known as adsorption, two materials are held together by what are known as van der Waals forces. These are weak but numerous interactions between molecules of the materials arising by electronic movements or displacements within the molecule. Electrostatic adhesion. Some conducting materials may pass electrons to form a difference in electronic charges at the two surfaces. This gives rise to a structure like a capacitor and creates an attractive electronic force between the two. Diffusion adhesion. Some materials may merge at the joint of diffusion. This may occur when the molecules of both materials are mobile and soluble in each other. This would be particularly effective with polymer chains where one end of a molecule of one material diffuses into molecules of the other material. It is also the mechanism involved in sintering. When metal or ceramic powders are pressed together and heated, atoms may diffuse from one particle to the next, thereby joining the particles together. Fracturing of an adhesive joint. The adhesive joint may fracture at different locations. When a load is placed on material held together by an adhesive, the adhesive joint may fracture. There are several major types of fractures as follows. In this figure, you can see number of uh, kinds of fracture. Cohesive fracture. A cohesive fracture is formed if a crack propagates in the bulk polymer that constitutes the adhesive. In this case, the surfaces of both adherents will be covered by fractured adhesive. The crack may propagate near the center of the layer or near an interface. Interfacial fracture. The fracture is said to be adhesive or interfacial when separation occurs at the interface between the adhesive and the adherent. The interfacial character of a fracture surface is usually detected by visual inspection, but the advanced surface characteristic techniques such as spectrophotometry allow one to locate the crack precisely. The mixed structure. This is a case in which the crack propagates at some spots in a cohesive manner and in other areas in an interfacial manner. Alternating crack path fracture. In this case, the cracks jump from one interface to the other. The type of fracture appears in the molecule, the tensile or percentage elongation in the adhesive layer. In some cases, the adherent or the substrate may fracture while the adhesive big differ may remain intact. Consider some examples of different types of fractures. When one removes a price label attached to a product, adhesive usually remains partially on the label and partially on the surface of the product. This is a case of cohesive failure. If, however, a layer of paper remains stuck to the surface, the adhesive has not failed, but the fracture has occurred in one of the substrates. An example of an adhesive failure is when someone pulls apart an Oreo cookie and all the filling remains on one side. Examples of glue. Historically, the term glue referred to protein colloids prepared from animal tissue. The meaning has been extended to say glue-like substance used to attach one material to another. Below are some examples of adhesives commonly referred to as glue. A tube of superglue, cyanoacrylate, brand name Super King of Casey glue, casein glue, protein glue, postage stamp gum, cement glues, contact cement, rubber cement, epoxylate cement, plastic cement, technically a solvent, not a glue, generally used for sealing PVC pipes, resin glues, epoxy resins, acrylic resins, phenol formidate resins, polyvinyl acid or PVA, including white glue such as Elmer's glue and yellow carpenter's glue, aliphatic resin. One stick PVP, polyvinyl pyrrolidine or PVA based polyester resins, isocyanaol resins, urea resin glue, urea formulate resin, Canada blossom, paste, latex paste, vegetable based glue, mucilage, starch glue, soybean glue, topia paste, commonly known as vegetable glue, animal glues like hide glue, flake and liquid versions, bone glue, fish glue, rabbit skin glue, horse and hoof glue. Types of adhesive: hot melt glue, polyethylene hot melt, acrylonitrile rubber base, cellulose nitrate, latex combo, neoprene base, polysulfide, polyurethane, polyvinyl chloride or PVC, rubber base, silicone base, albumin glue, ceramic adhesive, ultraviolet glue. What is Pressure sensitive adhesive tape used for. It can be used in office, home, industry, and institution for a wide variety of purposes. The tape consists of a pressure sensitive adhesive coated on a backing material such as paper, plastic film, cloth, or metal foil. How does pressure sensitive adhesive work? PSA will adhere to a variety of substrates when applied to most clean and dry surfaces with pressure. Pressure sensitive adhesives do not require solvent or water or heat to activate the adhesive. The bond is directly influenced by amount of pressure which is used to apply the adhesive to the surface. What does pressure sensitive adhesive mean? PSA tape can be defined as a continuous, flexible strip of cloth, paper, foil, foam coated on one side or both sides with a permanent tacky adhesive at room temperature. Variety of surfaces with light pressure like finger pressure with no phase change, that is not changing from liquid to solid or any other change. Variety of adhesives, single part, permanent. Here are some photographs. You will find super glue and other kind of adhesives that you are regularly buying. This is how you take out the adhesive on substrate to be coated in form of a bead and then you can spread it. This is a typical very popular super glue. This is a synthetic rubber adhesive, single component used for joining two different surfaces together. This another adhesive is getting applied with help of a squeezing. Another variety is tapes and labels. You can see some photographs of label stock printed or plain. You'll see some printed view baby tapes here. You will see a medicated tape or what is known as uh, Johnson and Johnson Band-Aid. You'll see carton sealing tape or box sealing tape. You'll find some specialty adhesive tapes based on various substrates. You'll also see post-it pads where the adhesive is coated only at one edge of the paper, and this can be used very effectively to pass on any message to your colleague who is going to work later on. Variety of adhesives for furniture. You can see PVA glue, which looks white in color. Popular brand in India is Fevicol. This is how it is applied to the ply or the plywood, and then the decorative laminate is pressed on that. It can be any other substrate also, like two wooden pieces can be stuck together. There is another class which is called as permanent adhesive. Generally, it is available in two parts like resin and hardener. Araldite is a very popular adhesive which we use to join broken saucer or cup or plastic or glass bottles, glasses, etc. M-Seal is another adhesive kind of adhesive. it is a mastic rather. It is in solid state, but it can be used for filling up the gaps. It can be used for even joining, and there are many applications. This is how the resin and the hardener are taken out. The resin is generally transparent in nature. The hardener is having slightly off-white color, and those are mixed in proportion of 10 is to 1, and then the mixed adhesive is applied on the area where you need to create a joint. There are some adhesives, single component, used for stationery. They are sprayable or they are brushable. This is the most popular glue stick we use to seal our envelopes. We use a liquid adhesive which is popularly known as Favibond, or there are many other similar adhesives. Here you can see adhesive is being sprayed with help of a spray gun on a foam piece. You can see a spraying is done through a can onto a polyester or onto a polyurethane foam. What is the difference between adhesive and glue? As norms, the difference between glue and adhesive is that glue is a hard gelatin made by boiling bones and hides used in solutions as an adhesive or any sticky adhesive substance, while adhesive is a substance such as glue that provides or promotes adhesion. What is adhesive properties? Adhesion is the ability of dissimilar molecules to stick together. Water will form a droplet because of intermolecular association with polar and charge molecules. We define adhesive or glue as a non-metallic material which can join two substrates using adhesion mechanism developed between the adhesive and the substrate, and cohesive mechanism developed within the adhesive itself. As it is set out in above definitions, an adhesive is a non-metallic material. We usually refer to adhesives as the materials which are composed by organic polymers in a liquid state when applied and become a solid state after further curing or hardening or drying. Following the definition of adhesive in any bonding joint, we find the following scheme. Bonding joint. Based on the previous figures and the definition of adhesive, we need to define three important concepts: substrate, adhesion, cohesion. Definition of substrate corresponds to the material we wish to adhere or join. For example, if we bond two aluminum plates, each of the aluminum plate will be the substrate. In this example, both the substrate 1 and substrate 2 are equal. If we want to bond a glass front of a painted aluminum frame, we will have the system of glass and painted aluminum substrate. In this example, substrate 1 is different from substrate 2. Definition of adhesion. Adhesion are all the forces or mechanisms that keep the adhesive with each substrate. The term refers to all adhesion mechanisms or forces located in a thin layer, bonding layer, between the substrate and the adhesive itself. Definition of cohesion. Cohesion forces are all the forces or mechanisms that hold the adhesive itself. Adhesion and cohesion. The adhesion and cohesion definition refers to the forces that keep together the adhesive with the substrate and the adhesive itself, that is cohesion. Cohesion. These forces correspond to the chemical bonds, intermolecular forces. Covalent chemical bonds are developed between atoms, enabling the creation of molecules and polymers. Also, chemical bonds allow to join different polymer chains, creating compact and highly cross-linked structures, or they are known as thermosets. Intermolecular forces between the molecules occur, allowing the creation of amorphous structures with excellent electricity, elasticity, and deformability. The chemical bonds and intermolecular forces are the anchoring elements that see the adhesive the with the substrate, that is the adhesion, and the adhesive itself, which is known as cohesion. You can reach us, you can reach me on my WhatsApp number or my email, or you can visit my website. This is my location. You can also reach to my WhatsApp. You are welcome to join me on LinkedIn. I got more than 12,500 contacts on LinkedIn. You are welcome to join me on Facebook. You can call me on my Skype. You are welcome to visit my YouTube channel, and you may subscribe my channel so that you can get my new video automatically to your inbox whenever I load a new one. Thank you very much.